everyone. Welcome to Pen to Paper. I'm Leah Lindman, author of the Canadian Reminiscence series, and today we're doing another author interview. We call it the author scene here, and I have Alyssa Milani here with me today.
Hi.
Oh shoot, did I say your last name properly?
It's fine. It's Milani, but everyone says Milani,
Milani.
so just whatever.
I was like, wait, I said this, and I remember when we had coffee, I had said it incorrectly, and I was like, great, I just did it again. So, Milani, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's better that
Okay,
you
good.
mispronounce that. You know how many people say Alyssa or like Eliza? I've
Oh,
gotten that before.
Eliza? That doesn't
Eliza,
make
yeah.
sense. That doesn't
Right?
make sense with how your name is written.
Yeah.
So we have Alyssa here today, and she's going to be sharing. Yes, I also have my baby here too, so hopefully she's not too distracting. She's going to be sharing today her upcoming release called The Chosen Secret, which is a dark romance. And she's going to tell us all about that and the vibes and the characters for that. And also, you can even share with us your short story that you had recently released in the, okay, what is it now?
Hearts
Love,
Lock Loves Key.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hearts Lock Loves Key. So you can share a little bit of that story. So, Alyssa, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What kind of other books you write? Because you write a whole bunch of different genres.
I do, yeah. I started out when I started writing, I started more of like the horror sci-fi thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that as I was writing those, I kind of liked the love stories that I added to them. So I kind of like, you know what, I'm going to stick with romance for a bit and just add my little twists and thrillers into it. And every now and then I'll do like a thriller book or like this one is, oh, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
that distracted me, but thanks for joining us.
Oh. Yeah, sorry. I add those in once in a while.
Yeah, and every once in a while I'll do like something that's just a little outside my norm, like pretty much this one, my dark romance. I'm like, how far can I go? You know, like how far is too far? And when I
Mm.
had sent it to my editor, I had like maybe 3 or 4 trigger warnings. And she wrote back to me. She's like, no, 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 no. There are so many in this one. I'm like, oh boy. Yeah, I
That's
like,
funny.
pushing the envelope sometimes, pretty much like this new release.
Well, obviously you're used to it, right? Because you write horror and thriller, which
Yeah.
pushes the envelope on a lot of different ways. So would you say this dark romance, The Chosen Secret, kind of molds or brings together the horror thriller world with your romance world? Like, did that kind of play into it a little bit, or is it more just I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming dark romance. I've never, okay, I'm going to admit it here. I've never read dark romance. Maybe some books that have a slight bend toward it, but I don't think I've ever read full on dark romance. So I don't know. Is it similar to horror, or are there horror thriller elements in it?
I mean, I wouldn't say horror, I
Okay.
guess more thriller, more
Okay.
just like, certain, like, can I just say certain, I know your baby's there. I feel kind of bad, but
Oh,
there's
it's
certain,
okay. She doesn't hear anything. I've got my earbuds. So
like, there's
we're all
certain
good.
like non-consensual scenes in it,
Yes. Okay.
versus where a romance novel has more like the consensual part of everything.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, I want to push myself and see how far I can go before I'm like, it's a little too
Yes.
far, you know?
And
Yeah.
share one fun fact about yourself.
Oh boy. Um, oh, see, I hate being put on the spot like that. One fun fact, I actually, before I studied writing at university, I was actually in law school. So I
Mm,
guess that's a fun fact. I wanted to be a lawyer at first, and then I'm like, you
yeah.
know what? This is a little too boring for me. Let's do something a little different.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And you're definitely going to that with your latest book.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about just a general overview of what The Secret is and what inspired you to write this. Like, what was the seed of the idea that started this whole novel?
Well, the novel I wrote before this one was a thriller novel. And I was like, okay, I was in that whole headspace of like the thriller headspace, but then I
Hmm.
also had started a romance. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to blend the two together and see what I can get. And just as I
Okay.
was writing this, I was like, ooh, okay, I'm really going just everywhere. So I'm like, let me take that everywhereness and try to make something out of it. Because usually when I write, I
Yeah.
don't have a plan. I just go with the
Okay.
flow.
Yeah.
It's like I tell everyone, it's my characters. They decide what's happening, not me. So that's
Yes.
pretty much what happened with this one, is they took the reins and they went as dark as they wanted to go. And I was like, I'm here with you guys. I got you. You know?
Yes, no, I hear that. I do the same thing to my characters. They're the ones that hold the reins. They're the ones that, shh, they're the ones that, oh boy, I guess she doesn't like it that our characters, take the reins.
Right? She's like, no, you guys have to have a plan.
I know. Have a plan and take control. What is this? How do you call yourselves writers?
Yeah.
But we are. And no, I completely understand that. So, okay, so yes, you were writing your two different stories, you molded them together, and then this was born out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something just
Wow.
like completely bonkers, I guess you can say. As I'm like, 'cause I'm in the middle of doing edits of it right now. And as I'm
Yeah.
reading, I'm like, wow, like I'm psychotic, you know,
Ah,
but yeah, just for some scenes, it's like, ooh, it's a little dark of
yes.
me, but it's gonna be good.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's true. Sometimes, you need to play the devil's advocate to
Mhm.
kind of really round out your perspective. I was at writers group last Monday, and prompt where, it starts off a phrase and you finish it. And the phrase was, I wish I had. And then I thought, okay, and all of immediately came to my mind, I wish I had the power to persuade people, da 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 da. And it started going really dark. But in the sense of, I had just read War and Peace. I'm still not done, but I'm going through it. And it was a scene where the family had just stopped this young woman from doing like a fatal error of her life. And so obviously they wanted to try to persuade her to see like, this is really bad for you. And so that's where it came from, but then it started going into other things. So you never know where words can take you, right? You go with them and then that's what happens.
Yeah.
So the characters, how did they come about? Like obviously you didn't create them because you said they're the ones in charge. They're the ones taking the reins. So how does that happen? How do they
Well, I
come to
know
life?
for the girl,
Hmm.
I had an idea of what she would look like in my head, but then I'm like, no,
Okay.
that's not her. It's not what she is. And happened to be scrolling through Pinterest,
Okay.
and it was like, unknown baby names or like an uncommon baby names. And Lakeland
Oh,
happened to be
yes.
there. And the
Okay.
second I seen her name, I was like, oh my God, okay, she's gonna be this like 5'7" curvy girl with like curly brown hair. And I'm like, that's her. That's who she is. And like the
Yes.
guy just kind of, was like, what could be her opposite?
Yes. Yes. Oh, one of my kids wants water. Hold on. My older son is still here. Edward, can you get Serenity some water, please? Thank you. Here, give it to your brother. So, to whoever is watching this, I'm not in an enclosed office space. Usually, I'm able to, kind of go away for a little bit to do these author interviews, but just the circumstances do not allow this time. So you're going to hear some noises and the
Mommy
baby's
duty.
here.
It's all good.
Mommy duty, but hey, we can do this. Yeah, okay, so Lakeland, I love that name. It's so interesting and different. Okay, so you saw this Lakeland person in your head, and then you also have your main male character. Who is
Yeah.
he, and what is he like?
I think he just came about because she is just this strong, badass girl. And I wanted
Yes.
someone to mirror her. So he kind of
Hmm.
is like this strong guy, but he's very easily manipulated. So like I
Hmm.
just wanted something that's kind of like the same but opposite. Hi. Another, you know,
Okay,
Mommy, the battery.
that's okay. Thanks. Yeah, keep going.
it's all good. It's super cute.
It's the cute edition of the
Yeah.
author scene this time.
Well, it's better to have that than like a really poor connection.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're getting to see all these really interesting people in the background.
Yeah. And believe me, if
Okay.
my kids were here, they'd be on top of me too. So
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, so we have and what's his name? Your main
Graham.
male character, Graham. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's in a secret society or
He
elite fraternity, right?
Yeah, he's in an elite fraternity and they both go to the same, I guess, same university who houses this elite, these elite people. He's so
Yeah.
cute. And they're fated or destined to end up
Okay.
together because
Okay.
of like the society that they live in. And she's completely against it. And at first he is too, until he meets her. And then he's like, no, 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 we have to do this. We have to, come together. And then like the full story is just twists and turns and like a completely big twist all the way at the end of the book.
Oh, I
And
love twists and turns. Those are the
yeah.
best.
Yeah, and
Yeah, so
I
I can
may or
see how
may
that could.
not
Oh, go
be.
ahead.
Oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
it's okay.
No, go,
I
go.
was just going to say, I may or may not be writing a sequel to it. I should be editing the first one, but
Okay.
I get distracted and I started something else.
Yes. Okay, but the story of like an idea for the sequel is there. That's what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So may or may not be. Does this mean like you have a sequel idea, but you're just not doing it now? And then once this is fully done and fleshed out and into the world, then you're like, oh, okay, maybe I can jump on that.
No, may or may not, as in my ADD kicked in and I stopped editing the
Oh,
first book
got
and I
it.
started writing the second book.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But you're on a timeline, I guess, right? You have a deadline to put this out. When is The Chosen Secret coming out?
It's coming out March 25th, and I had given myself a deadline to finish my edits by Saturday.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near finished because I want to do at least one more read through before I format it, and
Yes.
I am crazy behind, but
Oh no.
the life of a writer, right?
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, for sure. When I was before I released my the last novel that I released, I was adding scenes like 2 weeks before it came out, and I think, or 2 weeks before I had to upload it to get it out when I wanted to get it out. It was crazy experience. All right, we have Maya here, authentic experience, haha. Yes, for me. And that's my issue. Too many ideas combined with
Yes,
ADHD.
thank
You
you.
guys will be friends for life.
Yes.
Yes. So tell us, okay, so you mentioned Lakeland and Graham, and kind of obviously we can kind of realize that because she doesn't want to, and then he changes his mind and he wants to be that fated mate. And then obviously that's probably a lot of contention right there because she doesn't want it, right? And it probably
Yeah.
takes a lot of getting her riled up to change her mind, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess what is one thing that you want readers to take away from your work, other than having those twists and turns for fun? And yeah.
That's a good question. I guess you can take away the fact that that's going to sound just so cheesy. Love can be
No.
found in so many different places.
There you go.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
well, I guess for this one, I mean, this one's very dark, so I wouldn't say that there's anything readers will take away from that. But I guess from some of my other ones that, sometimes it's okay to push your boundaries
Mm,
and it's okay to, find that love in unexpected places.
yeah, for sure. And be
Yeah,
open to the concept of
yeah,
love in a place that maybe you thought you never would, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that that could work for The Chosen Secret. So in a maybe a little bit more of a twisted way, but sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So what was your writing process like for this book? Other than, okay, obviously you have ADHD. So for those who don't have ADHD, or like, what is that process like?
Um, well, usually what I do is for like the first draft, I just vomit whatever
Yes.
the idea is on the page. And then don't laugh. Sorry, my husband's laughing at me. Yeah. And then as time goes on, that's when I really get deep into the story.
Yes.
She's so cute.
I
So
know. I think she knows there's something in my ear. She's like, I'm going to reveal the
I
secret.
want one too.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for this one, I tried hard, like I said, to just, push my boundaries. So like after I wrote a scene, I'm like, okay, it's a good scene, but how can I make it darker? So that was
Okay.
pretty much my process for this, is how can I go that extra step?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were there, I don't know, movies or shows or books that kind of was an inspiration or gave you ideas to make it darker than you
Well,
originally wrote it?
I'm a horror movie buff, so we watch horror
Okay.
movies all the time. So I guess
Yes.
that could be like the I guess, the inspo, because I'm always
Yes.
watching something spooky or what have
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Have you seen anything good recently?
Not really. I mean, we watched this, I don't remember the name of the movie, but we watched this this movie the other day. It was like a 50 style movie that had just
Okay.
like an alien invasion come, but like you don't see the aliens or anything.
Oh,
I don't remember the name of the movie, but it was really well like filmed, well written. And
okay.
yeah. Okay, my husband will find
He's gonna find out.
it. He's gonna find it. Yeah, that was actually really good.
And was it
Like
actually scary or just kind of had that
that
oh,
creepy, cringy vibe.
okay, yes.
Yeah.
That's really interesting for a 50s movie.
Yeah.
The Vast of Night.
The Vast of Night, it's called.
The Vast of Night.
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out in 2020, just to add that.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, I like movies. I like horror movies that are not so obvious or in your face, but
Yeah.
they have that interesting undertone factor, right? That, yeah, as you said, adds that creepiness to it and
Yeah.
gets the reader on edge, or not the reader, the
Viewer.
watcher, the viewer on edge. Exactly.
Yeah, because
So
when I
do you
seen
like
it was like an alien movie, I'm like, oh, I don't want to see those
Yeah.
creepy looking aliens. Like half the time they're CG and they don't look good, but this one you don't see them. And just
Okay.
like my husband was saying, the ominous tone of it was like really good.
Yes, yes. So would you say
Mhm.
there's more of that like ominous tone in your work in The Chosen Secret? Would you say there's some of that in
There's a
there,
little
or is
bit
it
of it.
more? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you want to tell us a little bit about this secret elite fraternity that's going on there? What is it called?
Well, theirs is called the Omegas.
The Omegas.
Yeah. So I don't want to say that they're devil worshippers, but they kind of border on that. So like a
Okay.
lot of their rituals and stuff like that happen to do with, the blood and just sacrifice and stuff like that.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, so that's where it originates. And the whole point is the Omegas are supposed to marry other Omegas and keep them together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like the whole fated mates. That's where it comes from.
Yes, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's pretty creepy, I would say.
Yeah.
Those are your creepy undertones.
Yeah.
And also tell us a little bit about the short story that you wrote for Hearts. Oh my goodness, I keep ruining this. Hearts Lock Loves Key, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes. Tell us a little bit about that short story.
Well, I'll tell you about the anthology first. The women I
Sure.
worked with, they are
Yes.
so amazing. I just have to
Yeah.
shout out to them because we ended up getting our
Aw.
anthology a #1 bestseller, Orange Banner. And
I
we couldn't have
saw
done it
that.
without everyone.
Congratulations,
I know,
guys.
it's
It's
so amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, the women are so awesome. Their stories are so
Mhm.
good. And
Aw.
the one that I chose to write, it actually is, I don't know if it's called, I think it's called a spin-off
Okay.
from like the hockey romance that I wrote. So it
Oh,
kind of like it's attached to that. So it's just a cute
nice.
little love story of two people who like meet at a party, and there ends
Okay.
up being a twist at the end of the little story that they've been a couple the entire time, and that's their little Valentine's Day game that
Oh,
they play is, you
oh,
know.
that's so
Yeah.
cute. I love that. Yeah, well, I had Madeline Nixon on right earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, and she was great. So at least I've met one other person part of the anthology, and yeah, she writes romance too, but not this dark romance.
No. They're still really good though, her stories. They are
Yes, well,
really
actually, it's on my Apple Books. I am waiting to dive into it. I'm currently beta reading for a local author that we both know. And then I need to finish War and Peace because I promised myself I would finish it. And I'm at
that's a
page,
thick
like,
one, eh?
it's 1,500 pages. Yeah. So I got to page 800. So I need to push through and get it done. And then I'm going to read Heart's Lock Love's Key. Yes, I got it. Yeah. Oh, that's great. No, I love that. And are you a hockey mom, a hockey fan? Like, why
No.
hockey for the story?
Well, my husband's a big hockey fan.
Okay.
So like I kind of got that, like he watches hockey all the time. He's in a hockey like draft, a fantasy hockey thing. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I got my idea for that.
It's probably soaking into you, right? Through
Yeah.
osmosis. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what takeaway do you want for your readers from that story?
From the hockey one?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That one, well, the main character in that one, he's like head over heels for this girl. And this
Mhm.
girl is a stubborn little beep. And she's like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't believe in relationships. So it's the same thing. It's the whole just give it a chance,
Yes.
just always give love a chance. You never know where you could find,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
spark.
it's true. And I guess like the worst thing that happens is it just doesn't work out, right? And then that's it.
Yeah. Well, like for the hockey one where they
Yeah.
meet, they end up meeting in a bar. And what's funny is me and my
Oh,
husband met at a bar. So it's like kind of
that's
connects
so
it and
cute.
yeah, it's like you give it a chance and stuff will happen,
Yeah. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
That's great. So, when you were writing back to the Chosen Secret, or you can talk about your anthology too, what were some challenges that you came across when writing either one or both?
My editor is actually the one who pointed it out.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know did I tell you about it? I don't even know. I know I spoke to Emily about it,
Okay.
but my editor pointed it out while she was editing The Chosen Secret. She's like, there are a couple things that kind of, are very similar to another dark romance book. And I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh no. And like
Yeah.
she's pointing these things out. I'm like, oh shit. Like, what do I do? So I ended up changing a lot because of
Okay.
that. And I
Yeah.
had not even realized the similarities. So like 90, that's why it's probably taking me so long to edit this book because I'm changing so
Mm,
much of it.
wow.
But I'm happy that she pointed it out, and I'm happy that I seen that challenge was like, oh wow, I didn't even realize that I made that connection from a book I read like years ago to something I wrote
Okay.
last year. So it's like, whoa, okay, we can't have that. So that was one of the biggest challenges was realizing like, yeah, I got to change this and
Yeah.
fast.
And so in changing that, did that change kind of like the trajectory of the whole story, or you were able to kind of pull those tangents back together in a different way?
Yeah, I was able to pull a lot of this stuff back together. Of course, a lot
Okay.
of the scenes that I was like so in love with, I'm like, well, I can't use them.
Mm,
So I scrapped them,
yeah.
but the new ones I wrote, I really like them. So
Okay.
yeah. So it's a win-win, I guess you could say.
Yes. We
Yeah.
have a question from Maya here. She's asking, what team does your husband like?
The Montreal Canadiens.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
And
from
then she
Montreal,
also,
right? So you have to.
yeah, that's right. And she's an Ottawa Senators fan. For once, they're not doing bad this year.
That's
And
good.
for all of you hockey aficionados and watchers, good for you. I don't watch hockey. I don't know anything about hockey.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
do know, I do know the Ottawa Senators, whatever, Toronto Maple Leafs and Montreal Canadiens, and that's it. That's all I know about hockey. I mean, I assume it's similar to soccer, but on ice, there might be different rules. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, vastly different rules.
There are. Okay, there you go. Shows you how much I know.
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you love about being an author? Like being an author, what do you love about it?
Oh my God, there's so many things. I love just taking an idea that like
Hmm.
is like the silliest little idea and then turning it
Yeah.
into something so bigger than it was. Like for
Mm,
one of my stories, it's a book, it's like a sci-fi horror book that I wrote.
okay.
I think it was in 2019 or 2020. Anyway, one of the 2 years. The idea came to me while scrolling through Pinterest. I seen a
Okay.
picture of like little bow ties. It was like a multiple colored bow ties. And just that idea turned into like a full crazy novel.
No
So that's
way.
the one thing I love is I can take something so small and simple and just, blow it up into something crazy.
Bow ties. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't even like wrap my head around how that would turn into sci-fi horror, but that's cool.
Yes. Don't know how it happened
Yeah.
either, but it did.
Well, I think that's a huge thing that writers give to the world, right? They take the ordinary things and then they turn it into something extraordinary through their imaginations and
Yeah.
their words. So it's true. With being an author is like that's a privilege to do that, right? You just color the world in a different way. I guess that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you what do you do to connect with readers, what's your favorite thing about connecting with readers?
I love doing events. Even though I'm a very
Mm,
introverted, shy person, I like doing
yeah.
events because that's where I can actually see the readers. I could
Yes.
talk to them face to face because obviously talking over Instagram or Threads or TikTok, whatever, it's cool, it's fun, but it's like seeing them and talking to them and like them getting all excited to hold your book. That's the one thing that I love the most.
Yes.
So that's my big thing is doing events. I try to do as many as I can.
For
As many
sure,
as my
for
little
sure.
shy self can do, I should say.
Well, I think for being shy, as you say, that you do a lot, and I'm sure that they really appreciate getting to
Yeah.
meet you. And yeah, and we have from my again acceptable as long as it's not the Leafs. Yes,
Yes. Yes.
bow ties are cool. Oh, Doctor Who reference. I have not
Yeah, I
seen
don't watch
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. My husband does though, but I don't watch that.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I mean, I've heard that it's something I probably should see. It's such a cultural icon, right? But
Yeah.
it's not something I have gotten to yet. Yeah.
And there's so
So,
many seasons, so it's hard to kind of like start at a certain spot. You don't know
yes,
where to
exactly.
begin. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I ever start something, like I have to start from front to finish. So
Oh,
same thing with the book, like if I start
yeah.
a book, it's got to be well, I guess according to me, a pretty awful book if I never finish it. Like it's very
Yeah.
rare I DNF a book. I will push through as much as I can, but
I'm the
if
same
there's
way.
twists and turns, those are pretty good attractors for me to stay on the book and keep going through it. So,
Yeah.
but I think that comes with my mystery loving self. I just love mysteries and the twists and turns and not knowing what's going to happen. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
Are you one of those readers like me who has to like read the last page of the book and then start the book before reading it?
So, I used to do that, but I wouldn't read the last page. I would read like the last sentence.
Oh.
Yeah, because I felt like the last page gave away way too much. Because usually it is like, oh yeah, they have a happy ending, right? This person gets with
Yeah.
this, and like it's such this cute little finale scene. But I don't know, I just didn't want that. So I'm like, no, I'll do the last sentence. And usually it's a sentence that doesn't quite make a lot of sense, right? Without the whole context. I was like, okay, I'm happy with that. Now I can go to the front and read it. But I used to do that a lot when I was younger. Not so much now. I don't know. I guess I just read the back, right? I read the synopsis, and for me, that's kind of enough at this point. But what about you? Do you do that?
I do it with paperbacks. So I ended
Okay.
up getting a Kindle, not last year, but the year before for my birthday. And I
Yeah.
noticed with the Kindle, well, it's kind of harder to flip to the back page and
Yeah.
read. So
That's
like
right.
I only do that with paperbacks. On my Kindle,
Okay.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
My baby's moving around my wires and changing my lighting, and it's like a little light show here.
Better than look, it's so dark here.
You want to come back with Mama again? There you go. Now she's got a car to occupy her. Oh no, this is the pickup game. If anybody who has kids knows this, like your kids
Yes.
drop things and then they pick things up and drop things and pick things up, and I
And
don't
they
know.
think it's funny every time they drop it,
Yes,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yes, you have it again. So, for anyone who's starting out as a writer, what would be the one big piece of advice that you would give them?
To find a writing group.
Mm,
Because the writing
yeah,
group that I became a part of, I think it was middle or beginning of anyway, the writing group I became a part of, they are such a supportive group of girls. They are so
yeah,
amazing. So I feel like someone who is just starting out, it's good to get in like a group like that, because if you ever have questions, ever need advice, you just go to them and everyone always has an answer for something. So I
yes,
think that
yeah.
would be my biggest thing is get yourself a writing group and pretty much don't ever be scared to write. Just write anything down. Don't be like, oh, what if people don't like that? There's people out
Hmm.
there who probably will like that.
Yeah, yeah. And even then, you don't have to show to the world every single little piece of writing you write, right? Sometimes whatever
Exactly.
you write is just
Bye, Mom.
They're going out with dad. Bye, City. Yeah, sometimes, whatever you write is just meant for you. Like, as I
Yeah.
said, that little piece that I wrote at Writers Group, it's not like I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't have a short story for it. I don't have a place where I can put it. I just read it out loud in front of my Writers Group. But yeah, it was just good to get it out there, write it out, and that's it. Get it out of your system. So you never know
Yeah.
when that's gonna help. Okay, Maya's asking, how did you find your writing group?
Threads. I was on
Um,
Threads, and there was one of the girls in my writing group. She's like, "Hey, any Canadians out there want to join a group?" And I'm like, "I'm Canadian." And just history run its course. And we're a part of this group, and everyone's so, like I said, they're so amazing, such gifted writers. Part of the
Mm,
anthology I wrote, we're all from the same group as well.
that's
So
amazing.
yeah.
So all of the anthology writers are in the same group. Were there
Mhm.
others that were part of the group that weren't, that decided not to be a part of the anthology, or that's the group?
Well, no, there's other people in the group, but just 10 of
Okay.
us had decided to do that anthology.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, and we're doing another one in the winter time. Yeah,
Oh,
it's gonna be like a winter
exciting.
version, and
Okay.
I can't remember if it's the same girls or some of the girls plus extra girls.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got like such good feedback from this that we're kind of doing, more and
Mm,
more. And our editor, they're so amazing, I have to say.
yeah.
Yeah, they are so just top of this world. I always say that they're a rock star. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Nice. And okay, so you have that winter anthology. You
Mhm.
said you're working on a sequel to The Chosen Secret. Is there any other ideas, like more concrete ideas that you're
Well,
thinking,
yes.
oh, I might release this year, or
Yes, there are
yeah,
actually 2
okay,
novels that I have done. One of them is gonna get with my editor in April.
okay.
Gonna be sent to my editor in April. Very
Yeah,
tired, I apologize. Yeah,
it's
so
okay.
that one's gonna be sent to my editor in April. That's a small town, little friends to lovers romance. And another one is
Nice.
gonna be part 4 of my biker thriller romance.
Oh, yes, that's right. What
Yeah,
is that series called?
that's The Stowaway.
The Stowaway series.
Yeah,
Great. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, now I remember. I had a question. How long, so before your writers group, how long did you do the lone wolf writer persona? Because you had a group, you have a group now, but
Yeah.
before you didn't, right? So how long did you do that for? And can you kind of compare and contrast a little bit, like the growth of your journeys in each time period?
So beforehand, I was a lone wolf, I wanna say about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And the difference from then to when I started with the writing group, I noticed that I barely did any marketing back then. Every now and then I'd be like, "Oh,
Mm.
well, I haven't posted something in like 2 months. Might as well make a post." It
Yeah,
was
that's
one of
right.
those, and I'm wondering, I'm like,
Yes.
"How come my sales are so low?" It's like, "Well, you're not really doing much." And ever since
Yeah.
I got with this writing group, some of these ladies, they've given such great advice. And one of them was, you have to be consistent with your posting.
Yeah.
So ever since I've been more consistent, more, open to talking to more people and not being so like shy little cocoon
Mm.
self, I've noticed that it's growing, it's growing like quickly and more exponentially. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
like a night and day from being alone to being in a big group.
Yeah, I also did the wolf route probably for about the same amount of time, maybe a few years.
Mhm.
And it wasn't because I chose it specifically. It's just I didn't even grasp the concept of like this whole world of authors, local authors, and writing
Yeah.
groups. And like you're just doing it and you're starting out and you have no clue what you're doing. And then, even though you do know what you're doing, like you've been writing for a while, but you
Yeah.
just don't understand the power of communities. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say even in the last 2 years myself, like that community's grown exponentially. And so do
Mhm.
your readers, and so does that, as you said, the marketing and the exposure and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like obviously, I never thought I was the only person in Montreal who writes. I knew there were other people, but like when I started talking to more people, I'm like, wow, there are so many people in Montreal who are indie
Hmm.
authors. I'm like, where were you guys all this time? It's like, how am I just finding out about you now?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
just being more open and more willing to talk to people and connect with other people has helped so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For anybody who's, because you say you're shy, and there's probably, other shy people out there who are like, oh, I want to do that. Like, how did I guess what was the kicker for you? Like, what made you finally decide, okay, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and branch out? Like, what was that for you? What could that be for them to finally get that out? Like, for them to get out of their shell?
I know, I guess it's because I figured, I'm like, Christ, I'm doing this for so long, and I'm like, how come nothing is happening? And then
Yeah.
everyone's like, it's because you're not other people have been telling me you're not part of a community. You have no one
Mm.
there to, help walk you through things. So I was like, oh, well, like, I don't know if I should do this. I'm like, I'm not a very sociable person. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'll just do it. What's the worst that can happen, And well, good things happened.
Yeah.
So,
You took a brave step,
yeah.
and look, it's gotten you so far.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
That's great. Well, thank you for coming on the channel today. It was really, really great to talk about The Chosen Secret and your little short story for the anthology. And is there any final words you want to say to the audience? Where can they find you? What's the best way to connect with you? Do you have a newsletter, social media, all that?
Yeah. Best way to find me is I'm always on Instagram. I'm constantly chatting on that.
Yeah,
So
you
it's the
went from
best way to
posting
find me.
every few months to all the time.
I will legit spam your feed. So beware.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the best place to find me. I do have a newsletter, but I'm
Okay.
not crazy posting on that. I think I do one newsletter a month because I don't want to spam people on their emails as well as Instagram. TikTok I use every now and then, but I feel like Instagram is the best place to find me.
Okay.
And you can find my books on Amazon, Indigo, Barnes & Noble. It's pretty much anywhere books are sold.
I'm going to put your Instagram here. There. So that's your Instagram handle. So everyone you can go visit there. And once this is wrapped up, I will beef up the description a little bit, put the link where they can find your books, and where they can just connect with you. And and then they can find out through, if any of you live in the Eastern Ontario, Quebec area, that's where she does her events. So you can come meet her in person and and chat and connect there. So
as I said, it was Saturday, great. Right?
Yes, we're doing an event together. So we're at Stittsville Main Street Cafe. If you're near Ottawa, that's west of Ottawa. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, it's 1 to 4, and there's 12 of us, 12 romance readers in one place. So for all of you who love romance and who are in that area, you definitely have to come see us out there. And we have everything. We've got, dark romance, what you write, your biker series, and then your sweet romance. And we have other contemporary romance. I write historical romance. So there's a whole variety of genres in romance. Yes. There's something for everyone there. It's going to be great. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching tonight. And please go give Alyssa some love and have I'm going to say good night because it's good night for me, but
me too.
Blessings to you all wherever you are, whatever time of day. All right. Bye.